Oh, and away we go. What are you laughing at to start the show? Hey, Tom Shander, Mutt, here live.
I'm happy. Happy to be here with you, brother.
Mohegan Sun Sportsbook, FanDuel Sportsbook, Mohegan Sun. It is Sportsbook Live, week number 8. Next hour or so, a lot of sports betting to get to. Not just the NFL this week, but I want to get to some NBA. You are in the NBA streets every night, looking at props, looking at plays. I want to get your thoughts on that. We have a World Series matchup to talk about. You promised some sort of plate appearance.
Ooh. You never know. You never know. Oh, no. Oh, no. Mutt is officially frozen here. Now, nobody wants to see my face, right? So we're going to put this up here as we
talk. You.
There we go.
I see you there. You got me?
Yeah. You had a little bit of a blip. I'm not sure what's going on. We're fine. We're back. I have this ready to go. This is our technical, like, you know how they have the technical difficulties thing? This is our technical difficulties graphic.
We have changed nothing on our end. We are hoping it stays through. We have battled through 7 weeks. The tech has been excellent. Jim, my guy, has been great here today. The Wi-Fi has been good. So hopefully,
I think we're in good shape
here for the next hour. So we'll find out. If we're not. We're not. That's what we do here. It is a live podcast. You can watch on YouTube. You can watch on demand on the Odd Shopper or the Mohegan Sun YouTube page as well. And if you are watching right now, you have an hour here tonight to do so. Next week, and then the week number 10 in the NFL, November 7th, to get your butt here, watch Sportsbook Live, 6 to 7 in this.
Oh, man. Not sure what's happening here. We'll get him back up here, though. Nothing has changed, as Mutt said, on our end. I do love the frozen shots,
though.
To figure
it out.
All right, we got you.
I can still hear you when it's happening, so I can still. We will troubleshoot this. We have to go to extended break. We'll troubleshoot this.
Oh, we're fine. We're fine. We'll
let me know what we have to do here.
We'll get through it.
Here in the sports book, $10 bet 6 to 7 qualifies you for a $100 free sports bet every single Thursday, 6 to 7 here in the sports book. Thursday night football, World Series games, college football, college basketball, all the above. So get here next couple of weeks, qualifying. By the way, grand prize on the 7th of a table for 4 in the sports book, food and beverage comp, and a hotel room if you can make it work. So if you're listening or watching right now, get here to Mohegan Sun's FanDuel Sportsbook every Thursday, 6 until 7. 3 more weeks, really 2. After this week, we thank our friends at Mohegan Sun for taking care of our viewers, our fans who come out here, heckle me, heckle you, rip my bets. They can't rip my bets this week.
You did pretty well.
Nice bounce back, 3-0. Had to carry the podcast to what I think we had a 5-5 record. I think overall we had 3 wins here this week. There's a lot. There is a lot to go. There's a lot going on right now. I know we focus on the NFL, and I want to get to the NFL in a second. I get the sense you are pretty locked into the NBA on a nightly basis right now.
Yeah, we do really well, right? Odd Shopper, we do insanely well. Cleared 90 units last year in the NBA and already up to 9.5 in the first 2 days. So I just pound a lot of player props. And because it's similar to the NHL, but I think even more prevalent in the NBA, you see this now. Everybody races to the window and they want to load up on parlays. They want to load up on same game parlays. The 8+ rebounds, the 10+ assists, right? Like the 20+ points. Yeah. You see that much. So that opens up a lot of area to hit unders. So I've got 34 player props tonight across the board. And 30. There are a couple of sides and that I put in. But I've got about 30 player props across the board. And I don't think there's one over. So what I do is I don't even check it. Like I can't live watch an under unless I'm watching the game.
See, it's interesting you bring it up because I do think there's an idea out there because I was like this for a long time. I wanted to bet every over. And in fact, unfortunately, I have a player prop that's an over this week. So I'm going against myself. But normally with totals and player props, they put them so high. And I know it's fun to bet overs. So you want to bet overs, you want to win overs, you want to cheer for your overs. Are you doing that because you feel like the markets are pricing up for the casual player and you can take advantage? Or is there another reason why you focus so much on unders when it comes to player props?
This is something we should revisit with Bomber because this is the type of insight that I think you can get from somebody on the other side of the book without them giving away secrets, right? So, for example, you're here like physically live at Mohegan Sun. We have the man who runs the book with us each and every week, Brad, right? So I think looking at that, Bomber, I think getting his insight is going to really provide because this isn't going to change. And I mean this, Mutt, in that if Brad comes on and validates everything I said, which is the majority of people race to go bet overs, the majority of people love parlays, and just because you have 3 legs that are all overs in a parlay doesn't mean it doesn't impact the unders on those specific legs. So books get so much on overs and they get money. It's not just the number of bets, but it's the amount of money that they get. It's only natural that the under is not going to be shaded, that the under is going to get value, that you may get a book just slow to adjust their unders because of all the money coming in. So Brad, I don't think loves this, that there are people like me out there looking for angles, but at the same time, there are not enough of me out there to really, and he knows that all the over.
Hold on, you say that, but a couple weeks ago, and we'll do it in the last segment here tonight, we do our best bets. He tells if he would bet with us or book it, bet it or book it with the odds maker, right?
Yep.
When I said my player prop, he said I'll book every player prop. So I think he thinks that we're a moron. Well, I'm a moron. I think you're a moron too in a lot of ways, but I think in general, he thinks we're all morons. So I think he may just say we'll put the lineup and over the long term we are going to beat you. Whereas your point, we'll debate it with Rob. He joins us here today, but I know he would book all my prop action. I have a prop bet this week in the NFL. I think it's the first over I've taken in 7 or 8 weeks of doing the show when it comes to player props. We do our Thursday night game tonight, which I want to get to in a second. Road favorites now. People that are betting the NFL, you probably know this because it's been insane the last couple of weeks. So going into week number 8, starting with week 6, so 6 and the last 3 weeks, I should say. Road favorites are 16-2 against the spread since the beginning of week 5. Overall, road teams this year in the NFL, 61, 39, and 3 at 61%, the second best winning percentage through 7 weeks in the wild card era. That goes back to 1990. I think I was slow to this too. I'd be curious if you feel the same way. I grew up on this idea of home team gets 3 points. But I think we're seeing now, not just this year, but historically, we are seeing in the NFL, maybe college is different. Maybe you see it different in college. But in the NFL, home field's not worth 3 anymore. And if you're going 16-2, even a small sample size like that, that tells me more than ever that I'm factoring in less home field advantage when I look at sides in the NFL. It doesn't affect totals as much or player props, but at least in the side start of it, like I think clearly people are overrating home field advantage, and I've done that in the past. Do you feel like enough of a sample size now, just this year or last couple of years, that home field is not worth as much when you're looking at sides in the NFL?
I think the biggest reveal was COVID. When games were played with nobody in a stadium or very few, right? Like select few, Mutt. I think people recognize that all of that rah and their home crowd, it doesn't matter nearly as much. And you could have the rowdiest, you could have Patriots fans when they're good, Browns fans whenever they're good, Eagles fans when they're good. You could have the most belligerent, just rowdy, obnoxious, ignorant fans yelling and screaming and all, and it doesn't matter. And I remember in Philly, this was a big battle. I'm curious how it plays out up in Boston with such a huge local presence in a big city like Philly. But there was a constant back and forth. If you look at when the Eagles were really good during that Andy Reid run, their record at home did not indicate any type of home field advantage. There was no type of edge. There was no results that pointed to, oh man, you get the Eagles at home. In fact, a lot of times they were better at least covering spreads on the road because they didn't have to deal with people like me getting on TV saying, fire this guy, hey, get his ass out of here. There's something to that. And I guarantee you guys had it really good with Brady and all, but I guarantee you that there's something similar in these Northeast type environments where everybody thought home field meant everything and it really doesn't.
Yeah, I think here, and I got yelled at on the radio for saying this for a lot of years. I think the fans at Gillette, like the way the seats work at Gillette Stadium, there's 2 huge sections of red seats, they're the club seats. And for much of the game, those fans are inside of the bar. These huge oak bars at Gillette Stadium, they're eating, they're drinking. And I think it always took away from the home field advantage. And during the Brady Belichick run, I would put like less than 1% of their success, because Gillette fans were great. It's a great tailgate. There's Justin who's here is a big tailgater there at these games. But the home field, I don't think was ever a huge deal for the Patriots. In fact, I would say, when you go to their games, I've only been to 2 of their NFL stadiums. They by far rank the 3rd of like the most impactful home field I went to. Carolina. I went to a Bucks Panthers Brady game. That had a bigger home field advantage for Carolina than I ever saw with the Patriots fans.
What?
Yeah, the Carolina fans are nuts. They're in there early. They're screaming the entire game. They got the 3D cat jumping around. It was like it was a fun college-like atmosphere.
Is that only the case?
Gillette.
I can't believe that you would make that same statement for Red Sox or Bruins games.
No, the Garden is unbelievable for Bruins. Oh, okay. So Red Sox 04, like you're watching the Netflix documentary now, like when Red Sox mattered in Boston, amazing home field, right? That was a tough place to play. The Garden right now for the Celtics, tough place to play. Bruins fans are insane, and they're loud the entire game, tough place to play. Patriots, I don't think.
You know what happened? You were the 13, 14-year-old rapper that signed a $50 million deal and had no idea what to do with this overnight success. You guys got fat and lucky off of Belichick and Brady for 50 freaking years, and you had no idea how to handle that success. Shame on you for not having a home field advantage with the two most impactful people that were ever in their positions in the history of the game. Shame on you for that one, Mutt.
Okay, I don't know if you sound like a frog right now. Your microphone sounds like a frog. Jim, the engineer, is looking at me like I have two heads right now. I don't know what is going on with your audio on your side, but your audio just went absolutely.
Are you saying that because I ripped the Patriots?
I'm saying because you sound like it's now like a frog. Jim, am I? Yes, he's a Patriots fan, so he's mad at you for doing that.
Yes, but I figured. We need a New York Jets engineer. We need somebody who is not biased by any means. Come on.
I have no idea what's going on right now. I suggest that we go to some sort of extended break here and try to fix your audio, or have you unplug your mic or reset or something. Because
that's changed on my end.
Nothing changed at all. I didn't do anything. It sounds super overmodulated. There's no way we can do it for another 45 minutes like that. We can't. So however you want to do it on your end, if you want me to reset and you want to talk I'll do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I can't talk like that.
It's not on my end. I've just confirmed. It's not on my end.
Okay, so I will reset on my end. You go to break. We'll come back. We'll talk Thursday Night Football. I want to talk about your same game parlay for tonight. I want to talk about Week 8 in the NFL. We are live here, Mohegan Sun Sportsbook. Where winning isn't everything. It is the only thing. It is Sportsbook Live Mohegan Sun. Back in a minute.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, crafts, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, so we're waiting for Mutt right here, coming on back in. As soon as he is, we'll get to it. This is probably the wrong time to do it because he wants to be involved in this thing. But this plate appearance, and I'm giving this away. Like, I'm truly giving this gem away. And I'm only doing it because I just love Mike Mutnansky. Truly a fan of his to the point where I want to do this. And look, I'm going to show you something instead of just me. Right? There you go. Is that better? There, Mutt's back. Okay, so you're back. Everything good? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, probably back up. 1 second, Jim got me potted down. We're trying to. Okay. So we got to figure it out. Thank you.
What I was saying, until you're ready, and you jump in.
I'm good. No, we're good. We're good.
I was explaining the plate appearance scheme that I just don't know. Like, I found something. It was a very profitable system in a ridiculously bad market. Don't tell Bomber that I'm betting this because I'll be square in his eyes for the rest of my life if I'm not.
You might be anyway. To be fair, you might be already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm not, then this just solidified it. But I don't want to give this out. Like, I haven't told anybody but 3 people that I work with. That's it. You
teased it on the show.
I will give it out.
I got texts and calls, plate appearances, guaranteed, market-based, ready to go. People want this play. They want this play.
Right. No, I understand it. Like, I get it. I understand it. But there's also a method, right, to this, to where anytime you see on Twitter, like, hey, check this out, or this trend here, and everybody races to it, and then all of a sudden it's over.
Okay, so I'll give you a few minutes here because I do want to talk about Thursday Night Football. I'll give you some.
No, I have it whenever you're ready, but we can backset it. I will show you what it is, and I will show you that it only works with one person specific. But if you want to hit the Thursday night game, let's do that too.
All right, we're going to hit Eitan's plate appearance gold mine here right before 6:30. We'll give people some chance to get settled. I wanted to get pen and paper. Like it was when he goes watch those old 900 shows with
you better get in.
Dr. Ron Bash and Stu Feiner. We want to write down their picks. We want to write down the plate appearance gold mine from Eitan. But they want to hear Thursday night first. Thursday Night Football, Rams and Vikings, 3 all week, now 2.5. Huge injury news on this game tonight. Cooper Kupp back. Puka Nacua is on the field warming up. He might play. TJ Hawkinson back from Minnesota. I know you have a same game parlay. My lean here is the Rams +3. I grabbed the Rams +3 for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, emotional game for Minnesota. They put everything into that divisional game, lost to the Lions, so short week for them. There are a lot of trends that tell you undefeated teams, week 7 or later, coming back on a short week, then trying to win. They don't win over against the spread very often. So that was an angle I looked at there. Undefeated team, losing, wheeling back. Sean McVay, 5-2 against the spread recently on short weeks. And it just felt like Minnesota emotional game, some good trends in my favor. Rams at home, getting players back. Like I will like this a lot better if Puka Nacua plays, even in a limited fashion tonight. Getting Cooper Kupp back is a huge deal. Hawkinson a little bit, obviously on the Minnesota side. But I was comfortable after these road favorites have gone 16-2 the last 18 games in the NFL. I was comfortable giving the emotional game Sunday, short week, Rams getting a good player back. I'm comfortable at 3. I like it less. Obviously, at 2.5 would probably at that point play the money line. But I know you have some ideas on a same game parlay for this game tonight.
No, I'm with you, man. I think you're on to something for sure. And we talked about this really every time that we see short lines. It's been a weird year. I have a strange conspiracy theory going on that I can only bring up with you. I can't bring up with Brad because I can't put him in a position to say anything. But I have a very, very strong conviction that's conspiracy, right? But basically here at 2.5, it's a dead number. You've no business laying the 2.5 when you can still get money on the money line. Or getting the 2.5. Getting the 2.5. It's a dead number. So there's nothing here that would motivate me to take 2.5 points when I can take the +124 at home. That's the decision that you have to make if you're on the Rams side. You can't force this in there and say, I really like the Rams to cover, but I'm going to take a bad number. No, if you like the Rams tonight, I think the play has to be the Rams +124.
Player prop for me, DeMarcus Robinson, even if, Puka Nacua coming back, I'm not even going to mention it because if he comes back, I don't know what the rotation will look like. At some point today, FanDuel was posting his receiving number at 24.5 yards. Now, it's now to 21.5. There must be some sort of feeling that Puka Nacua is going to play in this game tonight. The market is telling you, folks, on DeMarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, like that's a sign that Puka is going to play. So I have very little interest now in that player prop. I have my Rams +3. Comfortable there. Well, at 24.5, I want to play over I just don't know what the rotation is going to be now. I felt very comfortable that Cooper Kupp and DeMarcus Robinson would play a lot, and then sort of Tyler Johnson and Tutu Atwell mixing in. At this point now, Puka's going to play, plus Colby Atkinson's healthy. Parkinson, excuse me. I just don't want to be interested in it. I want to play the over. I'm not going to dive back on the under. I'm not doing it.
Oh, look at that number.
I don't like that number. That's bad. That's bad juju. Get that off the screen. Get that off the screen. That's bad luck. 666 bad.
I heard from the Catholic side of my in-laws, and I am not, so I don't know. But I heard from the Catholic side of my in-laws that 777 is actually the bad number, and 666 is okay.
I am not a good Catholic then, I guess. I'm still afraid of 666. So why don't you just build us there? So you want to play? Oh, so your idea would be
here's what I'm really going to do. This is the play for me. If you wanted to run a same game parlay tonight, and I'll give you mine because I built one out and I'll explain it. But I'm just going on you. Like you've built this in my head, which is DeMarcus Robinson stays under this total based on where Tutu is, and I also think, as you mentioned, the return of Puka. You're going to just see limited targets and action for DeMarcus Robinson as a whole. It's going to be limited as for what we've seen. And Cooper Kupp can easily grab 6, 7, 8 passes, quick throws, get him involved, take some pressure off Matthew Stafford. I don't think this necessarily transfers over because I'm on the under too. I don't think this necessarily transfers over to some massive game for Cooper Kupp. If anything, the target share goes up. But I think this is a nice little angle here under both of these guys for the same game parlay. I'll give you mine, but I was just going off what you were
All right.
thinking.
I don't hate it. I'll take a look at it during the break here. It may have to fire. They have a million different machines here. You can walk up and place that same game parlay here at Mohegan Sun Sportsbook. What's the one you built for your fans earlier today? Because you do this every single Thursday. What did you end up doing there?
This is here. We have this up in the VIP here. So I use my FanDuel. Thanks, Brad Bomber. I use my
30% boost today. I got, yeah.
Well, you got the boost. So for me, real quick, whenever I have a profit boost, which is just one for like any play, you can boost one. I don't parlay. I always do one play because it's always going to be a plus EV bet. It's always going to be better for you that you've moved something from minus 114 to plus 120, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So no sweat is where I start to do a little crazy stuff or build a little bit on the parlay. So let's just talk through this here. You just laid it out, Mutt. You and I are on the same page. I'm on the Rams. I think I'm not betting the Rams individually as a play, but building a same game parlay, I'm going to add the Rams in as the plus money side. And there are a couple of things. You mentioned where you are as far as undefeated teams. Let me throw this at you here. I don't know how much you put into what it is like the stock of playing a team and then following that, right? Like we had a trend where every team who played the Niners the following week was just beat up and you saw a lot of unders. Teams are 1-5. Oh, pardon me. NFL teams are 8-13 straight up, 7-14 against their spread in their next game after taking on Detroit over the last 2 years, including 0-4 straight up against the spread this year. So maybe there is something about the way in which Detroit is playing, the nature in their games, like fast-paced, grinding you, physicality, whatever it may be. And I think this correlates. Short week for both teams. I'll go under 52.5. I move it from 49.5 to 52.5 with a field goal. And then lastly, what I love about Justin Jefferson is he can score in any game script. It doesn't matter if this game is 13-6 or if it's 34-30. Justin Jefferson is the best shot to get in the end zone. And at minus 110, that's the best number I could find. There you have it.
I like all of that. Like it's again, you can't bet JJ's anytime touchdown scoring just on by itself because they made some of these ridiculous. Like we saw last week, David Montgomery at one point on Sunday morning was minus 185 to score a touchdown. Saquon Barkley in the revenge game. But when you pair it up like this, I don't love all your bets, but I kind of like that. Minus 145. Like, give me a right.
I saw him on another book that I would never mention because they are inferior to FanDuel at minus. Now, this is dipped. I'm sure it's dipped, Mutt. But at one point in the day, he was minus 225. That's criminal. That is criminal.
Yeah, these touchdown markets, folks, they have really, with some of these, they have juiced the hell out of these, and they have made it so. I think what they want you to do, okay, Bomber, you're not here yet, but I think they want you to parlay these touchdown scores together, and so they've lowered some of these numbers. This is much different than it was even a season ago, 2 seasons ago, some of these touchdown scores, where the value, to me, in a lot of cases, has been, sucked out of it. You've got to be playing bombs, like third receivers, fourth receivers, backup running backs. Like, unless you're parlaying things together, I couldn't stomach minus 145, sitting there waiting for him to score a touchdown.
Let me tell you, man, that is a rough. By the way, the Rams 5-1 ATS last 6 Thursday night football games. That's Sean McVay.
McVay 5-2, and he's 5-2 against the spread on short weeks. I do want to talk about
one more.
One
more. The Rams were 7-1 straight up, 6-1-1 against the spread last year following their bye week. They just had their bye week before the Raiders game, right?
Yeah.
Which is for me, Mutt, is a little bit important this week because this is not a typical short week in the middle of a season. They had a week of rest before the Raiders game and then the short week. So the Vikings, I think, are more at a disadvantage.
Oh my God. It was, and not just the tough game against Detroit. Like physically, that was an emotional game. Like back and forth to the end, lost the game. Everyone was on the Vikings last week. They were going to try to get it back here tonight. You and I agree the Rams are the right side. Some other Week 8 games I want to get to. People are going to want to bet against Aaron Rodgers. They're going to have this whole thing about, they're a mess. You had it right. Their first half play was the play. In primetime the other night, they lost the game outright, but they won the first half. Do not be afraid of betting the big number with the Jets here. The Patriots are a freaking mess right now.
Wow.
They have a head coach who's calling his team soft and backtracking the next day. You have an offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, who stinks. A defensive coordinator today who got destroyed by one of the local papers. You have players speaking out, saying, I should have to ask for the football. Guys named Keyshawn Booty, who no one's ever heard of, is saying, I should have to ask for the football. Like, the only good thing about this team right now is Drake May. This is a wonderful get-right spot for the Jets. So I'm not sure I'd be hammering them at -7. I wouldn't be afraid to bet them laying the 7 points on the road here. Patriots coming off the London game where they got embarrassed and they could come back, so there's extra travel there. But as a teaser piece, like lock every teaser I play, if I play it this week, will have Jets -1. They're going to win this game. Do not be afraid of the number. The Patriots suck out loud.
Yeah, what did this open? Do we know? I'm going to look real quick because this is very questionable why this hasn't moved. Well, I mean, the look ahead was 3.5, so that makes sense based on what's happened, especially with the quarterback swap. But my question is, how long has this been 7? That's something we need from Bomber, right? How long has this been up and hanging at 7? The reason why I ask, Mutt, is because now is the time to jump in. If this thing has been stale, if this thing has been hanging for a little bit, now is the time to jump in before you get late public money in on the Jets and it moves to 7.5. It's hard for me to think outside of some crazy report that Aaron Rodgers is on some kind of hiatus, whatever the hell that thing was called, right? This thing goes from 7 to 6.5. Be really tough. Those days of sharps taking the Patriots, I think, are over.
Yeah, that ended pretty quickly here. So I'd not be afraid to bet them. That's one game. How about your Eagles this week? Going to the Bengals. My prop's going to be tied into that Bengals team, which we'll get to coming up in a little bit, part of Best Bets. Any feeling on your Eagles trying to get their season right against this Bengals team on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I'll save it as far as like the actual play because I am in on this game specifically.
Good,
but
good.
I think the biggest thing for me is while there is a lot of truth to Bill Parcells saying you are what your record is, the 10% gray area can really determine a matchup each week. And I think I'll leave it at that. There are some ridiculous numbers for the Cincinnati Bengals that show they're actually worse than their 2-4 record. And as crazy and as homer as it may sound, this specific matchup, Mike, the Eagles look like a 6-0 team when you compare what's going on with Philly and Cincy. So I may race to the window and let my homerism blind me, or I may just listen to what you and others have to say and kind of rework my strategy. But I'm definitely making a play on this game. It's my top play of the week on this game.
Awesome. I might be a player prop. We'll look forward to getting that during Best Bets. We also have a
love your player prop, and I think it actually helps us correlate what we're doing together. I'm curious when we get – I can't do it now, but I'm curious when we get there what that same game parlay does look like with you and I on our 2 plays.
We'll build that out with Bomber and see if he mocks the sport. I'm sure that
he's going to mock anybody building a parlay. That's like you showing up at a 3-card Monty table with $100 in cash.
If it's available after the show, I will go find it. Trust me, that's the kind of mood that I'm in right now. Let's talk about the World Series real quick. I know that there's a lot of Yankee fans that are going to make their way through here. They're going to watch the Yankees starting Game 1 tomorrow. There's Legends Night here. There'll be some Mets players here, but it's Yankees and Dodgers. I've seen the Dodgers as low as -125. You got a little bit of a slight plus number on the Yankees, but that has now gone to even money, -105. My lean in the series is the Yankees in this series. They had the better pitching. I'm going to be interested with Flaherty kind of banged up, Freddie Freeman kind of banged up. I am content if I'm just betting the series to bet the Yankees. And it like a little bit of an emotional hedge for me. I don't want to really see the Yankees win. So if they do win, I make some money. So I admit that's part of it. But really, forget the World Series for a second. You've got a plate appearance system that you've now teased for a show and a half. So I'm going to get out of the way. If you can do it in 2 minutes or so, if possible, I would like to know how to bet on plate appearances. I've never bet on plate appearances. We got a World Series starting tomorrow. How are we going to make money on plate appearances, Game 1 World Series? Or can we make it?
So here's the thing. This really only works with one person in one spot. But if you hit it right, and again, you can apply this in game. All right. And I'll just show you, right? Like we've done this already with other people. For example, I've done this with Mookie Betts. Here's just real life, right? But this is it. I want you to look at this, right? And let me zoom in so you can see this.
It's pretty small, but
I know.
I can see it, but no one can read that right now. There you go. Zoom in.
Okay.
Zoom.
So
Enhance.
This is it.
Enhance.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So it's not up right now, and I was expecting it to be up, but it's not. You will have an option as you get closer to game time. Home plate appearances and away plate appearances. And you want to target, this is it. The trio is Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber, first plate appearance. This is the system. This has been ultra super profitable. As you see here, right? And let me just zoom out quickly so you can see the top play. There's a walk hit by pitch option. There's an extra base hit, which is a double, triple, or home run. Or there's a single option, right? And walk is always going to be a little watered down for guys that walk. Extra base hit, you're always going to get a better number than you would for just betting a home run. And then single is great because they're going to be fantastic odds. What you do every single time Kyle Schwarber is leading off against a lefty, you bet each one of these at a half unit. You see $50, right? You're going to have two other options that are going to be out and strikeout. Forget those. What you're getting with Kyle Schwarber, Mutt, is you're getting legit odds for a lefty-lefty split, even though, which is not favorable, right, for a batter, so they're going to give you better odds. Sure. Even though Kyle Schwarber's lefty-lefty splits are incredible, better than most righty-lefty splits. So this has not been factored in to this bet, and we made a killing this year simply betting Kyle Schwarber first plate appearance trio. That's what we called it. Walk hit by pitch or extra base hit or single, a half unit on each, and it had to be a lefty-lefty. That's the system. It worked. We've tried to apply it elsewhere, but it mostly works with Schwarber against the lefty.
Okay, but work for Mookie Betts. So you're saying you need to do the research as who it's going to work for in this series. You haven't done that yet.
Here's
so
what I would say.
You promised to bet you like, but you don't know the guy we're doing it. Because Kyle Schwarber, last time I checked, is not playing in the World Series.
Correct, but I don't have the opportunity to show you what the bet looks like, so I can't.
Okay. But I was to work for Mookie Betts, so I will do the work.
Here's what I would do. Okay, I got it.
But I got to go do the work on the splits now. So now I wanted you to give me something. Now I have to work.
No. I got it. All right, just calm down for a second. I got it. You see this guy here, Shohei Ohtani?
I'm familiar with his work. Yes.
All right. Wait until the first at bat. If Shohei Ohtani gets on base, I don't care if he gets hit in the head or if he hits a jack and he just leads off with a home run. Whatever the case is, if Shohei Ohtani, even if it's an error, if Shohei Ohtani reaches first base or beyond in his first at-bat, immediately go and bet that trio for the second plate appearance, because nobody in their right mind is going to want to go after Ohtani, no matter the situation, in that very second plate appearance. So a lot of this is just applying game flow and game script and working it that way. We're on Mookie a lot when it comes to matchups, so I like to play him early in at-bats. Shohei, I wait for the first at-bat, then I jump on if he gets on or if he clears anything more than a single.
It's good action to have. I will just say, if you're looking for MVP odds, I think Gleyber Torres is interesting at a big price. He's going to lead off for the Yankees in this series. He's going to get a lot of at-bats. There are some crazy guys who won MVP in the World Series, folks. Ben Zobrist was a World Series MVP. Steve Pearce was a World Series MVP. Like, no-name guys can win. Leading off for the Yankees in a high-scoring series, which they win, Gleyber Torres can win MVP at a pretty big price. Meanwhile, you've watched the show for 7 or 8 weeks. You want to come out here and you think, how do I do this with my family? Right? I want to bet sports, but how do I get my family involved? How about this? The Family Fun for All hotel package offered by our friends at Mohegan Sun. Go to the website, mohegansun.com. Go to the packages area. The package includes not just to stay here, but includes money towards Kids Quest, which, by the way, is the ridiculous arcade they have here, which is fun for adults, too. Trust me, I spend way too much money with my kids trying to get points to win stuff. Also, goes the food and beverage credit as well. So if you are looking to watch the show, you want to come see Bomber Brad, you want to get his picture, be treated like a VIP in here, you come see Bomber Brad, tell your wife, hey, it's a family vacation. Book the Family Fun for All package, Mohegan Sun's website. You will be a hero. The kids are at the pool, you're at the sports book, they're at the arcade later. And you can thank me and thank Eitan to an extent. Check them out. Now, you know what? Not on that web. Don't do it on that website. Just go to Mohegan Sun's travel.
Okay. I thought I was on. I typed in mohegansun.com and it brought me to that. Jeez.
We got to get you squared away. Very quick break. Come back. He is off his return from last week. He was away on family vacation. The bomb.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, crafts, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Back of House is back with a new season and new episodes. Go behind the scenes to watch and win at backofhouse.tv.
Look at that. Look who's back.
Look at that. Woo! Here we go.
Who's back?
Whoa! All the guy does is give out winners and help out his audience here. Get a little closer.
That connection.
Oh, it'll come right back. We
got it. We got it.
Bomber, good to see you, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to be back.
Good to have you back. You weren't here last week for my 3-0. They congratulate me on my 3-0. You don't want to do that?
The public beat us up again, so that makes sense.
Well, I was gonna say,
I have a conspiracy.
Oh, here we go. Let's let Eitan start tonight.
I can't give it to Brad because he's in a position where even if I were right, he could never, ever, ever admit that. And this is only a bad result if I bring this up in front of Bomber Mutt, because I'm going to lose credibility, or I'm going to be right and he's not going to be able to say anything, and I'm going to lose even further credibility with the audience.
You told me off the air.
Oh, we got to get this thing. If you keep freezing, I'm going to give you my conspiracy theory. That's going to be the threat right now. Why? Why can't we lock you in right now? This is like there we go.
We can hear you. You're good. We're back.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, here we go. We're back. Let's go, Bomber. We need winners.
You did not have a great week. I want to ask something we talked about to start the show, since you asked Eitan. Home field advantage in the NFL. I think it's worth less than it's ever been worth. Talk about road favorites being 16-2. Is it still a factor? Is it more of a factor in college football, where you spend a lot of your time giving us plays here on the show?
I think it's more of a factor in college for sure. I think it is a factor in some of the NFL places, maybe Philadelphia, Kansas City, maybe Seattle back in their heyday. But I don't think it means as much in the pros as it used to. It really don't. I know we always used to say 3.5, 4 points. I don't know if that's the case anymore. I don't think it works like that.
The factor into any of your plays, like when you're looking at college games at all, NFL, is it 2? It used to be 3 points. Like growing up, it was 3 points home field favorite. What do you make it as now? When you're looking at games yourself, what number do you make that, or does it depend on the place they're playing?
I think it depends on the place they're playing. And I think it depends for me on the team, the road team, and what they're coming in. You know, if let's say Ball State's coming in to play and they're on the road, I don't think that means as much to the home team as if Oregon's going to come in as a 21-point favorite and they just got named number 1 in the country. I think the home field depends on the situation of the road team coming in as well.
You look at the NFL this week. You were not here last week. We had a heads up bet. I will get to your picks here in a second. I should have started with this though. I owe $100 to charity, because I was on the wrong side of a game. I was dumb. Eitan was smart. We want to tie it into a Mohegan Sun charity. I know you guys do something here where every month you are constantly donating to a different charity, and you're rounding up from people who are betting here at the sports book, or they're going to a restaurant here. What's the charity this month? Because you guys do one every month. So I want to donate $100 to that charity off my moronic pick of under Bucks and Saints of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so what we do here in the race book is if you cash a ticket, let's say for $20.50, we give you the option of donating the 50 cents to a charity that we change every month. We also do it out on the casino floor with our NRTs when you're cashing the slot tickets as well. This month, it's the American Heart Association, specifically the Heart Walk. We're very big into that, and that's this month's charity. So that donation can be made to them.
So the American Heart Association.
That's it.
Okay,
Correct.
you got it. Obviously, Bomber for hosting us here. We thank Eitan for beating me in that bet. What advice do you have for the people this week? Giving us advice every week when it comes to sports betting. It's week 8 in the NFL. College football's heating up. Your sage advice for the audience heading into Week 8 in the NFL.
I think you've always got to be changing if you play a system, you've always got to be changing and looking to upgrade your system. And I'm going to use me as an example. Last couple of weeks,
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously everyone. We're off to the races, and it's you for the win. A moment of calm before the dark.
last year's game, I take that into account.
Dance floor. Who needs
What I couldn't take into account for is how many players were lost, how many players are coming in. I think that's had an impact on my handicapping of the college game. So I think one of my suggestions is you always got to be willing to improve and build upon your systems that you may or may not play.
Yeah, it's tough because you get locked into something, right? And you feel like it's always going to win. And it's why awards markets, I think, are so fun to target because people, they see what's happening now and they think it's just always going to continue. And when you bet these awards markets, like you can get good value on those things. So your point would be bring that into your own handicapping in these NFL and college games and constantly change things up when you're looking at this stuff.
I think you have like I had baseball. I used to play against teams going for the sweep. That was one of the best systems ever. That doesn't work anymore. So a lot of things change.
Somebody should be giving Mike Mutnansky credit here as they come back in. I don't know if anybody out there is going to, but he had Jared Goff at 20-1. And that number has since dipped down to 7-1. So, Bomber, as square as Mutt is, and maybe this show is as an entirety, that was a 20-1 ticket that Mike Mutnansky sniped with Jared Goff. And I got to be honest, after that win against Minnesota, you guys got to be sweating a little bit now that this Goff ticket could cash.
Absolutely. We're worried about it for sure. You know that.
I played it again at 30-1. That's how dumb I am. His odds went up for the bye week or something, some generic game, went to 30-1. I played them both on FanDuel, so I'm hoping to take your money here today. How about some Mohegan metrics, Bomber? Brad Bryant joining us, the manager here at Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. Games being bet right now in the NFL, the biggest sort of liability you guys have heading into Week 8.
So one of the games is tonight, Minnesota. Popular team, Minnesota tonight. The second most popular team on Sunday will be Detroit minus 11, which looks way too easy, but Detroit seems to be getting a lot of play. And then one of the two other teams, actually Steelers, and then the Broncos, of course, getting a lot of play.
Yeah. How about on your NHL? What do you got for Bomber here?
I'm glad you brought that up as far as this Broncos Panthers game. I don't know how to play it because I want to fade the most. Like, I don't want to do the most obvious thing, Brad, but it's clearly the most obvious thing, which is you're going back to a broken young quarterback who doesn't have, or at least hasn't shown the history that he can deal with adversity. How does this team score points against the best or one of the best defenses traveling week in and week out? Oh, and by the way, they're back home. I played the under on the team total for Carolina, and I'm tempted to just play the under if I can find it, the under first half team total for Carolina. Like, it makes sense to bet Denver, but again, everybody's going to be betting Denver. It makes sense to bet the under. This is probably, even if you love the over, you're going to race to bet the under in this game. So I probably outsmarted myself, but I looked at what's the easiest thing to control that's probably not going to be the most popular bet, and that would be how the hell does Carolina score points?
So one of the things that as a gambler you do is you pass the obvious, right? You're thinking this looks too easy, and it does look too easy, but sometimes it is. Maybe Denver's just the right side, and that's it. Let me go back to what you were talking about before I came on the show when you were talking about fading of the numbers or fading the over, right? I actually believe, and have said this for several years now, probably 4 or 5 years, that I think there's more value in favorites than there's ever been. So I think the lines are actually shaded a little more toward staying away from the sharp guys than they are the squares, okay? So I think they would rather look at this line. It's 9.5. Who would make that line 9.5? How could it be at 9.5? It'd have to be at least 10 or more for me. I think a sports book would rather fade the public at 9.5, which is not a great number, right? To lay a 9.5, or it is a great number, lay a 9.5. Then give a sharp guy, say 10, 10.5, or 11. So I think there's a lot of value in favorites now where there used to hardly ever be, because they were always 12, 13, 14.
Had not thought about it that way. And maybe I'll start looking at lines differently. And with that in mind, to see if they go.
That's this year, though, right, Bomber? That's this year. Like all of a sudden, 5.5 is a backable bet, and all of a sudden, 2.5 is a backable number. And it's hard for me to think that this doesn't correlate with the incredible amount of people, new people, mind you, that are coming to the NFL to bet. The Taylor Swifties and the Beyonce's and all these other people who are now like in tune to the NFL because they want to bet as well. So all of a sudden, it's almost like Brad Bomber, that you and everybody else are okay with taking a little bit of a hit this year, knowing that everything goes back to normal the next year, and you can really slam people on 5.5 and 2.5. I know that's not the case, but I at least got a smile from you.
I think it changes every year. I'll give you another example. You may or may not have called a offline bookie at some point. When you did, you remember what he used to tell you when you run the lines down? Dallas pick, Eagles 3, Vikings 7, whoever 10,
square numbers. Yeah,
you never 5.5 never came out of a bookie's name, mouth back in the day. Now there's money, so much money is exchanged going from 5.5 to 6, 5.5 to 5. It's crazy. I don't know how to explain it. I just think that that's part of it. Is they would rather sweat that 5.5, give a square, a good number at 5, than to let a sharp player or somebody that just looks for value, they don't have to be sharp, than to give them +7. I just think that's how it does.
But aren't those dead numbers, right? Like Mutt, 5, 4. These. So
yeah, I mean the line is somewhat like I'll steal Bill Simmons 20 years ago, the Vegas zone. Like it's not a number you wanted to play. It was 4.5, 5, 5.5. It's like doesn't mean anything to me.
Right. It's like giving you stock in a bad company. Here you go. We'll just keep giving you more stock. More. You just keep giving me bad numbers. But but that's the thing, though, right? Like sharps don't bet sharp lines. They find square lines to bet, don't they? That's how they profit.
That's how it used to be. I mean, it's when I was in Vegas, that's what it was more about. Was the sharps would come in later in the week sometimes, and they want that big number at the locals casinos where you predominantly were going to be 80% favorite over. The sharps wanted to be on the underdog and the under, right? That's how it was. But nowadays it's totally different because that number comes out and it's a 5. Well, they got to make a decision. And in my mind, nowadays, I think laying the 5 is more value than going the opposite way.
It'll be interesting following the next couple of weeks. The public got buried the first 5. The last 2 that have really been, as you said, in their favor. We'll see if it continues. Again, road favorites can't continue. 16-2 last 18 games in the NFL. That road favorite number cannot continue. There's home dogs in the NFL. We'll see if they get bet both here and across the country. You give us NFL picks, you have college picks, you got a couple picks for us today? Reds picks, go ahead. Let's go.
But let's just go back to tonight's game. Everybody's betting, who did I say?
Vikings.
So everybody's betting the Vikings tonight. They're probably on the right side. I actually like the other side, but one of my servers, Chantalise, is coming off a documented 15-0 run in the NFL last week. So that's just picking straight up, but pretty impressive, 15-0.
So who does Chantalise like?
She's got Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
She got the Vikings tonight.
I'm against her.
I'm going to go home tonight and figure out how much she would have won if she'd actually bet $5 on all those 15-0.
Nice little parlay card. I know you like what UNLV was a college play.
I do like UNLV +3.5. That's tomorrow night. Big game with them in Boise State. This is one of those games. It's in Las Vegas. I think the home field advantage will mean a little bit for UNLV. This is a big game for them. One of the biggest games maybe they've ever played in school history. And they really, some of these one-loss teams if they want to make the playoff, they can't lose anymore. So I think this is a big game for UNLV. Then we're going to switch over, and Aton's going to love this because I'm just a sick person.
I can't believe you're betting.
No, this is my favorite bet ever.
But I'm going to take the everybody can get ready to laugh, but I'm going to take the Titans.
Do it.
Plus the 11.5 on Sunday against
How did they not win that game last week? They find ways to lose. This team is impossible to bet on. I've been the wrong side of the Titans the entire year, and you're going back against the Lions coming off an emotional win over the Vikings we just talked about.
That's
I can't
why.
believe the Vikings, yeah, I can't believe. Listen, I was against the Vikings last week, and somebody actually got on my pick and sunk the Titanic. I won't talk about that. But anyway, back to that game. Detroit, really impressed me last week. That's a game they're supposed to lose. They won. They got 2 back-to-back emotional weeks. I'm going to roll the dice and go against them again, but I like the Titans. I actually think if Titans can keep this close, they got a chance to win this game.
All right, so we got UNLV and Titans, a couple dogs here.
Yeah.
I've been asked by 5 people here tonight. The Diamond dog of the week, right? Diamond came on here last week. He told us he gave us Ball State plus the points. He has given us tonight SMU. He likes SMU plus 24 this weekend against James Madison. 2 reasons. 1, coaching change. Likes to bounce back on the coaching change for SMU. And number 2, he says James Madison plays down to the competition. I have no idea if that's true or not, but he's 1-0. He gave us Ball State. We are on SMU. I bet it blindly last week. I'm betting it again here today. The Diamond in the Rough dog of the week. You okay with your guy, Diamond? Come in here and give him picks now? You sure?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
How'd you think he did last week?
I thought he did really good. The only thing he was missing was a big gold chain. To go
I know.
with
You should have worn your big
man.
gold chain cross, Diamond. You should have had that out there.
that. Either that or a Flavor Flav clock. We could have went that route, right? He does know that Eric Dickerson and Craig James doesn't play for the Pony Express anymore, right? We're not. In
I don't
the 80s.
even think he does.
Your guys, Ron Meyer, he was a New England coach for a while, right?
Who'd you? It's SMU's playing Duke.
Yeah. That's
Oh, USM, Southern Miss. I'm a moron.
Okay, because I was going to say, I don't know where Bomber is, but I'm actually on Duke in this game. So,
Oh, you guys are sick. Hey, you talk about Duke on your own time. It's USM.
I actually am on
Plus
Duke. I'm shocked that
Oh.
line is that. Like, I
You're
don't
on
know
Duke
how
last week, too. All right, we'll take our final break. I figured out the
The only
issues here.
winner.
Send all your complaints to me. I screwed this up. It's all set now the rest of the show. When we come back,
here's the thing. Validate, because I was getting killed, absolutely killed. All right. Can you
Me.
say that? Say
See
that
this?
again without the
Okay.
screen share. I tell you what.
Pat Ford and company in the chat, it's me. I screwed it up. My fault. Zayton stink, maybe, but I screwed this up.
Oh, I
It is
stink.
my fault.
I
Does he
stink. I suck.
Yes.
All of that. I just
The
didn't
test-
screw this one up.
It did, no. This is all me, and it's because I can't produce jack squat. I can barely talk behind the mic. You put me on the technical side, it's a disaster, and that's completely on me.
And he's frozen. On cue. He's frozen.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
Back of House is back with a new season and new episodes. Go behind the scenes to watch and win at backofhouse.tv.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, craps, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, we are one day away from World Series Game 1 tomorrow night in LA. It's Dodgers, Yankees. I'm on the Yankees. I'm on Gleyber Torres for MVP. You've given us a system now for Shohei Ohtani in the World Series, plate appearances. But if you are looking for a place to watch the game and have an amazing time, it is here at Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook. It is Q&A with the New York baseball legends, Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, a cast of thousands. Keith Hernandez of Seinfeld fame will be here. Tickets available on Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster. Okay, don't go to Mohegan Sun's website. Ticketmaster. Tickets include a Q&A with Bob Easler from WFAN, a huge Mr. Met guy. He'll be here for the Q&A. Comes with a drink as well. Bomber will be here. Come tell him you watched the show. He'll take care of you. Should be a fun event tomorrow. I wish the Mets were in it, but should be a fun event.
Yeah, I'm excited. We had Dwight Gooden here once before, several months back. He was great with the public, so I'm excited to see Keith and Strawberry, and we'll have a good time for tomorrow night. I'm with you. I wish the Mets were here. I don't know who to root for.
Do you have a lean Yankees?
I
Dodgers?
think you have to lean Yankees small, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything big. maybe Eitan can just text me and say, hey, we got to play in this game because I didn't follow what he was saying earlier.
A lot of people didn't. Now,
I'm sure you're going to want to tail that horrible minus EV system, Bomber. I'm sure.
Here's the thing. I would follow you, and if it fails, I would never even say anything about it. It is what it is, right?
You're a good guy.
I'm not one of these guys that I give you 13 straight winners. You want to know what happened on game 14. That's not me.
Best bets here on the program. We have 3 at the end of the show. Bomber gets involved with bet it or book it. If he likes the bet, he will bet it with us. If it's a bookmaker wants to book it, he will say that as well. I won last week, so I will go first. I'm taking Bombers Cowboys this week. I want the Cowboys plus 4.5 out in San Francisco. Look, 49ers, bunch of injury issues. Debo's banged up. Juwan Jennings banged up. As of this morning, those guys were questionable at best. But they have a bye week next week. You guys talked about a sandwich game last week in college football. How about the banged up 49ers bye week looming? McCaffrey will come back on November 10th. They could wait these guys out, let them rest. This is where Brock Purdy gets in a little bit of trouble because all his guys aren't there. Cowboys got ripped by their owner. Aikman went after them, right? Aikman said that CeeDee Lamb couldn't play anymore. Mike McCarthy, right? I think of him as like a dolt moron type of coach. He is the best coach when it comes to extended rest in the NFL since 2003. Against the spread, 38, 23, and 3. That is 62% against the spread off extended rest. 13-5 with the Cowboys. Dak gets cooking. I want the Cowboys plus 4.5 in San Francisco off the buy. You want to bet it or book it?
I'm going to book that.
Damn it.
I'm hoping you're right, but I'm going to book that. And you're giving all these stats. Reminds me of a guy that used to come out and he used to do that at Spiel. He'd give you like 42 stats on a team.
Yeah.
For Dallas, and then he'd say, and give me the 49ers.
I'll do it at some point.
Opposite picks.
I'll do it at some
That's
point.
Scott Wetzel. That's who that is.
Remember that?
I worked with Scott. I shared a newsroom. I've shared shows. Scott's a friend of mine. Absolutely.
That was so funny. He used to do that. It was so hilarious.
Yep. Give me the opposite. Oh yeah, I used to give him all that shit on there. I was like, good dude. He's out in I think Sports Grid now. All right, so give me the Eagles here -3 or plus. Sorry, geez, +3 for somehow.
Okay, I'll book the -3.
No, it's +3.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I messed up. It should be -3. Somehow a team that got out-yarded by Cleveland last week and is 2-4 on the year and is a worse passing and rushing offense and defense than their opponent is laying 3 points at home. I don't care what you think the line is, if it should be 3, 2, whatever. The wrong team is favored. I know that's cliche as it gets here, but I'll take 3 points, a key number on the road for an Eagles team that's healthy in the right spots, receiver and Lane Johnson up front.
Better book it.
Man, that's a tough one, but as a bookmaker, I'm probably going to book that one. So still not completely sold on the other side of that. I see where you're coming, where they're outgained or outrushed last week, but
by Cleveland, Bomber. By Cleveland.
I got it, but I'm still not sold on the Eagles either. I think they got some issues as well, like the Cowboys, so I'm going to book that one.
All right, I want a total in the NFL. I want the under 40.5. I'm not sure what the number is right now, Eitan. On the Saints and the Chargers, I look for teams that work slow. I look for good defenses. Chargers, second slowest team in the NFL this year. Neutral situations. Jim Harbaugh's team, they always play slow. They also have the number 8 DVOA defense in the league. Joey Boa practicing. Last couple of days, Bosa, not Boa. He's going to likely play. Going against the rookie quarterback, Spencer Rattler. He's back in there for the Saints. And how about this trend? Last couple of years, the under in Justin Herbert games, I know you love these stats, Bomber. 15-4 in his last 19 starts, last 3 years, 25-12. Slow game, bad offense for the Saints, even with guys coming back for them. I want the under 40.5 points.
Book it. I'm booking all overs and unders. So I'll book it.
Okay, go ahead, Eitan. What do you got?
Well, I'm just curious. 41 is a key number. He's on the wrong side of that total as far as just blind bet. How much did that factor into your book?
None. I just anybody betting over and unders game day, closer to game, I'll just book them.
It's Thursday.
See, that's the thing, though, right?
3
That's
days.
why. But see, to Mutt's point, he removed that. Like I could come on and tell you, remember, I got CLV and all this other bullshit, but it doesn't matter on this show because Brad only cares about what's right now. So that in its own right, we should not be betting totals any day past really Thursday at this point.
In the old days, if he's betting under, he should have waited till Saturday or Sunday to make the bet right at game time.
Correct. Unders, correct.
unders, then he probably gets under 42.
Got it. Okay.
I'll come back on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll meet you here at 10.
I'm going Washington. I'm going to take the 3 points.
No Jane Daniels, right?
That's fine. Marcus Mariota threw for 2 TDs, 200 yards in the air. The change from a starting quarterback to a backup quarterback outside of like Tom Brady is so overvalued when you see how people react to it. This is a good football team. I know you don't like trends, Bomber, so I'm only talking to Mutt right now. Teams coming off an outright upset win in London are 2-9 straight up, 3-8 against the spread, including 1-6 ATS on the road. They've lost all 7 of those straight up. Chicago is still new in their success with the quarterback. Washington only moves to a backup. They've had a whole week to prepare for this sucker. They know that Marcus Mariota is not just coming in randomly in the first quarter. I'm going with the 3 points at home.
I'm with you. I'll back that bet. And Marcus Mariota, he's not like he's your typical backup either. So he could probably start for quite a few teams in the NFL. So I'll back that.
And it's not day of game, too. They've had all week. It's a good point. It's not a real backup. He started the NFL. They've had a week to practice. I know you hate props. You're going to hate this, Bomber. But I want the over on Jamar Chase. The Eagles have the 26th ranked pass defense in the NFL. They are dead last in the league, DVOA, against number 1 receivers. I think this game is a shootout. Jamar Chase has cleared this thing 3 times, almost 4 times this year. I think he has a huge game in a back-and-forth spot between Eagles and Bengals. I'm playing the over, Square Play City, 74.5 Jamar Chase receiving yards.
Book it.
Yeah, I figured. Go ahead.
Wow. Here's the thing. Do you feel like Bomber just feels bad for us and has to say one bet it, knowing that we won't hold him accountable,
Yes.
right?
And Sean, the social media guy, is also nodding his head yes. He
No, I'm a
watches the show.
bookmaker. I mean, we take bets. That's what we do.
And you like
Yeah,
the
but-
under as your last pick, Eitan? You
Yeah,
like
I'm tonight. I'm going the under on the total. This has moved up, so I'm buying back at 48.5. Short week for both teams. Neither one of these teams wants to let the other guys, from Justin Jefferson to Cooper Kupp or Puka, whatever, Nakua to Shander or Mutt, anybody. It's a short week, and I know that the Rams, I'm on the Rams side more so than Minnesota, and I don't know how they win in the shootout.
Hawkinson out. Did Puka get cleared, Sean, for this game? So Puka's going to play.
He was on the field, yeah.
Hawkinson now. Well, they went 10 minutes ago. They went official with the ins and outs. Bomber,
I can find 48.5 out there. I'm betting for it's down to 47 in some places, Bomber. Come on.
I'm going to back it. And just for the record, I backed 2 of yours and none of Mutt's.
Yeah, well, I went 3-0 last week. So you're fading Mutt.
Yeah, so
Hashtag fade Mutt
we'll see what happens this week.
in this spot.
Just remember, good teams win, great teams cover.
We have a bunch of people signed up. They placed their $10 bets minimum. They want to win $100 here. We have a grand prize giveaway, folks. You're watching this show live or on demand on the Odd Shopper Mohegan Sun YouTube page 2 weeks from now, 11/7, right? Get your butt here, make a $10 bet, and qualify for your chance to win a table for 4 in the sports book, all comp, food and beverage comp, and a hotel stay if it works out. I can't believe you're going against your Cowboys. When the Cowboys win, and we went outright.
I'm hoping, I'm pulling for you, but it's just, I'm a Cowboy fan.
I know.
How much more can I take?
Keep wearing this.
The only thing
smelly-
worse is a Browns fan, and I got one of those that worked on.
Oh,
We will
they're
be
in a
back
bad
here. I hope to see you here tomorrow for the Q&A with the Legends, Game 1 of the World Series. Eitan, bad job by me on the tech. We'll bounce back
you're
next
here,
week.
brother. That's all
Thank
that
you for
matters.
watching. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you for week 9.
Thank
Who's
you.
in for Mohegan? Obviously, everyone. We're off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. High score, dance floor. Apps, crafts, and nightcaps? Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
This football season, take in every epic moment on the largest HD video wall in the Northeast at the Mohegan Sun FanDuel Sportsbook.